I will not give up. Hello, folks. Welcome to Mindset Monday. Here it is. I have three smart devices around me, and only the third one works, which is my phone. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on and why everything else can run off of the internet except when I go live with you guys. But that's okay. And my phone is on the internet right now. Go figure. I thought first it was my laptop because it's an older laptop. I've had it, well, in laptop years. I've had it for 4 or 5 years now, and you know that it's maturing when it's that old. But my iPad, I'm disappointed in that because usually it runs with no problem. In fact, I just thought of something. I could run it off of my phone and have a larger screen, but that's okay. I'm just going to hold my phone and talk to you guys. Welcome, welcome to Mindset Monday. Um, yeah, I'm here because life gives you two choices. I just condensed the title in this one just to try to get back on. Two choices. I had two choices: to give up or to keep going. The only thing is on my phone, I get all these other little notifications that come across. So if you see me looking up, it's because I'm reading them or trying to look at them quickly. And yeah. Oh, hey, Dennis. And that's the thing. I didn't know if anybody could hear me. So I put it in the original chat that I was on, but I don't know if anybody could even see that. I don't know. Technology is good until it doesn't work, right? Anyway, I'm here and I've got to give an apology to, well, not really an apology. It's kind of like what Chris was saying. I was in his chat a few minutes ago. And if you don't know, you don't know. My surprise that I had for you guys on Saturday, which I thought was canceled. Well, not canceled, but I had the wrong date. It actually happened. And I mean, I looked at the article and it said 2025, so I don't know what happened. Anyway, that event happened. I was going to take you all to Ola in Knoxville, which is a big Latin festival. And I was going to walk around and show you the things and show you people dancing, show you the vendors that were there. They even invited my friend who teaches line dancing. She did line dancing there. So it would have been a fun occasion. So I am so sorry that somehow I was misled to think that it was going to be in September. And it actually did happen Saturday. So I'm kind of disappointed because I wanted to go. I like Ola. I went last year. It was really fun. Got to dance, got to see some friends from Nashville because they play in a Latin band. And yeah, but hey, in these YouTube streets, you learn these things and you just adjust and pivot. Because why? You have two choices. Life is truly about two choices, y'all. Once I realized that, which is more recently, I think I told some of you all I had a discussion in Bible study and we were talking about two choices, how to handle certain situations. And it really got me thinking that everything is about those two choices. You choose to do it or you choose to not do it. You choose to react or you choose to respond. You choose to go or you choose to not go. You choose to go through the struggle or to give up. It's really that's, and when I started thinking, I was trying to think of things where maybe that situation wouldn't work. So far, I have not come up with that situation. So I was looking up because, I always try to do a little bit of research. Um, on the topics that I talk about, if I don't already know a lot about it. But again, I think we all know a lot about it. We just have to put it in that context. We just have to shift our brains to that way of thinking. I am seeing it's a lot easier to make decisions now using that concept. But of course, I'm still practicing. I'm still practicing how to do it. So here's some of the things I found. It says life is about two choices. It's a powerful idea. Every day, in everyday situations, we're faced with decisions that shape our path. That's why I put in my thumbnail there were two paths to choose. And it's truly that is truly what life is about. So let's see, let's talk about what it really means and how you can use this mindset to transform your week. So this is something that's continuous. This is something that you can utilize starting now. For example, you can choose to look at my live stream or not. You can choose to continue on with your day and maybe watch it in the replay. It's really that simple. We complicate life. I know I complicate life. I overthink this. So this has helped my brain restructure itself. Those dendrites that sometimes are overpopulated, it's really helped me to calm down some of my thought process, not overcomplicate simple situations. My zodiac sign says Libra. I'm a Libra. Um, we overthink. It's hard for us to choose, but once we choose, we stick with that decision for the most part, which is true. But I'm trying to lessen that thought process, the complications of that thought process. So this is really helping me. Again, a new mindset shift. So it has to be practiced, right? So what I found is there's those main principles, two choice principles. At its core, it says life often boils down to two choices. Do you react or do you respond? Remember, we've talked about that. Do you move forward or do you stay where you are? Do you choose growth or do you choose comfort? Then the other way to turn that around is, can you find comfort in growth? Y'all, this is this brain working. It might be overworking, but it's doing it in a simpler form. So, we've talked about that first one about respond or react. Reading Proverbs today, it's all about responding. A wise person chooses to respond. A foolish person chooses to react, whether they realize they're choosing that or not. That's what they do. Example is sometimes you're in a situation, and if you're truly thinking while you're in that negative situation, that's what I mean. Sometimes positive situations, but mostly negative situations. If you choose to react, you can escalate that negativity. You can escalate that toxicity. Whew, that's a big word. And I haven't finished my coffee yet. Yeah, I got a bigger mug for more coffee. I chose that bigger mug today. But yeah, you can react, and all of a sudden you're in a situation that's escalated unnecessarily. Or you can wait and respond. Hey, Catrice, how you doing? I hope you're having a good day. Yeah, I had some technical difficulties. I'm on my phone, so it looks a little different. But I had a choice, two choices, whether to come on or not. And I decided to struggle through it and come on and just use the smallest device I had that worked. And now I'm here. So anyway, so In my personal situation, I had two choices: being in the tiny home and being in the community, and finding out that it was going to take a little bit before I could get to my actual destination of my permanent home. Um, a lot of people didn't understand it, but I had to realize, even in that, I had to make two choices. Did I listen to everyone else, or did I go with my own thought and my own research and my own consciousness and what my spirit told me? I went with what my spirit told me. I am building that part of my life way more than it ever has been. Listening to that spirit within you, it guides you. It doesn't do you wrong. You got to trust it though. And you got to exercise it though. And you've got to make it prominent in your life. So, yes. So my two choices were to go and freak out, and I'm not saying that I didn't, and flee, or to stay and immerse myself in the community and learn things from the inside instead of the out. So that's my example of moving forward or staying where you are, because that didn't have to be a negative. Moving forward, sometimes it's not beneficial. Did you think about that? Sometimes moving forward is a type of reaction instead of a response. Hey, Tiffany, how are you? Welcome to the chat. Today we're talking about mindset. Life is about two choices. I know you know that one well. Two choices, y'all. So put in the chat, can you think of anything that you've experienced where once you sat down and once you paused, you realized it was way better to respond than to react? Way better to respond than to react. Because if you had reacted, it would have escalated the situation. Even though in my head, I'm always like, boy, I ought to say this, I ought to say that, I ought to do this, I ought to do that. But that wasn't the best choice. So in your wisdom, you learned that it was better to respond than to react. Put it in the chat if you don't mind sharing it. It can be something lightweight. Like I said, mine was, I decided to not move forward and wait because I know the reward that I'm going to have in the end is exactly what I want. So I didn't react to all the voices around me. Oh, you ought to do this. You ought to do that. I don't understand why you. And instead, I'm waiting to do my response. So yeah, share with me if you have something like that in the chat. And then another component is, do you choose growth or do you choose comfort? And I had to think that one through, because I'm like, And like I said, can you find comfortability in your growth, which is another choice. I think a lot of people choose comfort because they're not comfortable in growing. So they accept mediocrity. I have never been that person, ever in my life. Ever in my life. And I grew up really comfortable. But even in that comfort, I knew there was more out there in the world for me to experience, for me to encounter. That's my new word, encounter. Encounter and experiences. They're almost the same, but encounter means it's a little deeper to me. So growing up, only child in a middle-class family with pretty much privilege, more than most, I had comfort. But I soon found that the only way to grow past that to get the things I wanted. Because remember, we had a discussion that I'm a little quirky. I'm not your norm person. I'm not your norm female. I'm not your norm ethnic person. Okay. Whatever people or society has deemed the norm, I am not that for the most part. So I found that I had to always get out of my comfort zone to attain my goals and dreams. I had to have that mindset. I had to grow those dendrites in that direction. Man, would it have been easier if I had picked up this this principle of how to make those decisions? It would have been a lot quicker, a lot quicker. But I'm just glad I have it now. I have it now. So do you choose growth or do you choose comfort? Or do you choose, which I guess is the third choice, comfort in your growth? Comfort in your growth. After a while, you have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable. I could have stayed where I was, in the home I was in the relationship I was in the way I was eating, and all that. I could have stayed in that. I was comfortable physically. Well, take that back. Society would have said I was comfortable. I'm going to put it that way. But honestly, in here and in here, I wasn't comfortable at all. My mind, my spirit told me I was not comfortable. I was not happy. I love my house. It was a beautiful home. But I was like, why am I doing this again in this large space? So that was misery. Didn't choose to do that. Why am I stuck in well, not stuck, because you're never stuck. Why am I in this relationship that I'm not happy? I don't see any productivity from it, or jointness, or equally yokedness, or however you want to put it. I don't see that. So why stay? And I definitely was uncomfortable in my body. I don't know if any of you all have seen my before and after picture, but when I was out of breath moving from my couch to my chair, which it was only a few, maybe 2 or 3 feet away from me, definitely wasn't physically comfortable. So I had to choose just to sit in that, just because that's what I had. That's what was in front of me. That's what was expected of me. Or did I choose to grow? Did I choose to move on? Did I choose to trust in myself? A lot of it, I think people don't trust in themselves. They've allowed that spirit inside them to weaken and let society choose for them because it's just easier. You can't choose easy, y'all. You can't always choose easy. Sometimes that growth process is the hardest part. That growth process is the hardest part. I don't mean physically hard. No. If you can live an easy life and not have to work hard physically, I say go for that. Your girl will definitely go for that. But what I mean is the growth part. The growth part. So let's see. I had some more stuff down here. Let me read it to you. Every moment we're given the opportunity to pick one path or the other. It's not always easy, but recognizing that you have a choice is the first step to taking control of your life. Again, the other reason of starting this channel, excuse me, I'm making a choice. I got to take a sip of coffee. The other reason of starting this channel is because I kept running into people who couldn't make a choice. They didn't even know they had a choice. That's the thing. And to me, it's different if you don't know already and trying to make decisions. But if you're informed enough where you can go out and go, oh, wait, I have a choice now. I don't have to just settle for this. Then, hey, I'm willing to tool you. I'm willing to fuel you. I'm willing to motivate you on that. Go out and live your best life. You want me to show you how? You want me to tell you how? I got you on that. Then after that, it's your choice. Your choice, right? So here's some real life examples, and then I'm going to go into the chat. So here's one that I pulled up and I thought was pretty good. Let's say you get in some tough feedback, or you get some tough feedback at work. You have two choices: take it personally and shut down, or see it as a chance to learn and improve. The other choice you have is, once you learn the source of that critique and their personality, you can choose to listen to their wisdom if they're that person, or know that they are not in your best benefit. So then that's how you handle the information they've given you. Because sometimes you are in a vicarious position where your manager, supervisor, or whatever you do over you could have your best interest at heart and just giving you some critiquing on how to do your job better. Or you have someone, and you learn that pretty soon. You can figure that part out pretty soon. Or they're a person that is not in your best benefit, and they're trying to set you up and get rid of you because whatever they advised you would make you make even more of a mistake. But those are, again, you see how everything is one. It's the two choices. It's the two choices, y'all. We know that little brain that explodes, that emoji. Yeah. So, which would you choose? Which would you choose? I'm going to go in the chat real quick. I see Dennis has said, let's see. My dad was being sued and I was called as a witness. Oh my goodness. When I was on the stand, their lawyer made some statements about my dad. Missed me. I think he meant pissed me off. However, I realized he wanted me to react. Yes, that's how they get people. That's how attorneys work. So you almost have to have the mindset of someone like that to know how to react know how to respond instead of react. So let's see, I think, yeah, you had more to it. So Dennis continues and says, I took a deep breath. Deep breaths always help. It's something about pausing, inhaling, blowing out. It gives your time to clear, your mind time to clear. It gives your body time to calm. That's why I think I like yoga, because it helps with the breath. He took a deep breath, then he chose to respond in a truthful, factual way and didn't react. Dennis's dad won that lawsuit. Exactly. It's something about calming yourself and responding that seems to even out the situation. And you're not trying to manipulate anybody. You're just trying to keep yourself together, right? Yeah. Dennis, that's a good example. Very good example. Yeah, I understood you meant piss, not miss. Good example. And that wasn't, not that that was a life or death situation, but that was definitely something that if you had chosen just to react, could have changed the course of your dad's life. It could have changed the course of your dad's life. So a lot of times our response or reaction not only affects us, it affects other people around us, our families, our whatever. Just like this example I gave, um, would you personally shut down or would you see it as a chance to learn and improve? Well, if you're on the job and you're supporting your family and you react, you could lose your job and that income, and that could affect your family, right? So, or you can look at it again, considering the source as a chance to improve. And sometimes employees and employers antagonize you to see how you're going to react or respond to a situation. Think about that too, because they know if you respond, you are an employee that thinks things through, and not it's not going to mishandle a situation. It's not going to. You will always try to do your best, and you will always try to be honest, and you will always try to do what's good for yourself and the people around you. So, yeah, here's another one. Maybe you're stuck in a regular routine. Routines are hard for me. And I'm seeing the older I get, the less I like a routine. And what I mean a routine of where every day you get up at a certain time, every day you fix breakfast at a certain time, every day you do the certain things in life, I guess, are a routine for me, like coffee. But every day I don't fix coffee. Most days I fix coffee. But every day I don't fix coffee. And I'll think back later, I'm like, oh, I haven't even had coffee today. Okay. So steadfast routines for me are not good. Again, I don't like being set in a box. I don't like to be held to that. I kind of like to be a little bit more of a free spirit. So, but certain routines are good. I do know that. Certain routines are good. So, one of my good routines, I'm sorry, again, I'm holding the phone. So, I know I'm all over the place. One of my good routines is every morning I try to make sure I do my devotion first thing. If it's not first thing, then it's really close to being the first thing. I feel like I should always wake up thankful, which I do. I feel like I should always wake up honoring my creator and savior and reading his word. That is a routine I do. The days I don't do it, just because sometimes life situations call for you to get up, move, and keep going, and or like for me a road trip. But I still try to allocate that time somewhere in my day. But most days that is my priority. I wake up doing that first. Sometimes I don't even get out of bed and do it, but I make that my priority. So that's a routine I like to keep in my life. Most days drinking coffee, that's a routine I like to keep in my life. Most days doing movement, that's another routine, I guess. But I guess where it's no longer a routine is how I do my movement or how I make my coffee. So yeah, those two things can be flexible, but yet a routine. What are some routines that you all do that are like non-negotiable? I'm sorry, yeah, I'm still trying to not read all those little things that are coming across my screen. What are some routines that are non-negotiable, or some routines that you found didn't serve you in the past that you're like, why am I doing this? A funny one for me, while you're writing in the chat, a funny one for me was when I was a young bride and my husband and I, we were setting up our household. And I found myself, and that's when I was eating bread still, found myself washing out bread bags and Ziploc bags. I found myself washing them. Yes, like you wash dishes. Why? because my mom did it. And one day I was washing a bag, hating it because to me, they don't ever get really clean, and realizing, why am I doing this? So I had two choices: to stop doing it or to continue doing it just because. It didn't make sense in my head, y'all, especially Ziploc bags. Go buy another. You got Dollar Tree. It's going to cost you $1.25. Go buy another box. And again, to me, it just didn't feel as sanitary. I understood the mindset that our parents had, and they were very frugal. I'm frugal, but I'm not that frugal. Okay. So I had to change that routine because I'm like, I am not washing another baggie. So fast forward to my last relationship. That person, because it was so expensive to buy new liners for his Seal a Meal thing, he washed out those baggies and he expected me to as well. I did a few times. After a while, I'm like, look, bruh, if you want these baggies clean, you'll wash them. I ain't about that washing baggie life, okay? So if they're that expensive to you and that sacred to you, you wash them. So I just leave them in the sink, but that's a whole nother conversation because they would stay there for days and start smelling, and then I throw them in the trash. Oh, well. So yeah, certain routines I refuse to be stuck in. So the question again is, do you stay in your comfort zone or do you try something new, even if it's scary? Even if it's scary. Even if it's scary. So I'm going to throw this up real quick. What choices are you facing that you can use this concept? Again, I'm beginning to use it in everything. For example, I've got a trip coming up soon. And I'm trying to think through the logistics. I'm trying to think through just because the original trip has changed. The original trip has changed. Because technically, I wasn't supposed to be where I am today. I was supposed to be somewhere else. So because of that, I just pivoted. Again, I've learned to be comfortable, or I've learned to be, what did we say before? Comfortable in my uncomfortability. Instead of reacting, thinking it through, and I'm going to respond, right? So I'm pivoting and I'm rethinking how I'm going to structure this for my benefit. For my benefit. So that's one thing I'm working on this week. That's the choices I'm going to make for my end result at the end of the week. So that's what I'm working on. What are some of the things you guys are working on this week, or where you can see using this concept? And while you're thinking about that and putting it in the chat, why this mindset matters when you realize that you always have at least two choices. You stop feeling powerless. It goes back to that woe is me versus wow is me. Again, two choices. You're going to stay in your woe, or you're going to go find your wow. You start to see challenges as opportunities. Yes, even in this, when I was like, I had this all planned out. Oh, well, let's pivot. Let's figure it out. This mindset helps you build resistance. Not resistance, resilience, confidence, and a sense of purpose. That is so true. I find every day that my sense of purpose is stronger and stronger and stronger. Because for a while, a few years, I had no idea what my sense of purpose was. So a couple of ways to practice this week is to pause before reacting, kind of like what Dennis said. Take a breath. Because most people are waiting for you to react. Take a breath, blow it out, then respond. Ask yourself, what are your two choices here? Then write down a decision you're facing and list the two main options. That's probably what I'm going to do to finalize how I want to tweak my new pivot for this trip. The third one is choose the one that aligns with your values and long-term goals. Yes, we are created to help each other. Within this trip, that's what I'm doing. I'm helping someone out. But now I've got to align this with what I feel, my goals, my values, my choices. So I'm going to make it work for me. Always remember that. Always remember that. So let me see. I think I have a couple of comments. Let's see. Hey, Chris. Chris is on here. Chris Cook in Nashville. He says, hello, my friend. Headed to go film, but wanted to say, hey, you rock. Chris, you rock too, bruh. You rock too. We're talking about mindset change, and it all connects, doesn't it? It's funny to me on Mondays, we all have similar mindset messages, today on Chris's. And if you all don't know Chris, go over to his channel and check it out. On Mondays, he goes into deep thought, which I follow him, and I'm in deep thought. And there's a couple of people before us, I think Two Crazy Ketos. They're usually in deep thought on Mondays too. And they all seem to almost align. It's so wild. It's so wild. But yeah, go check out Chris's channel. Today he was talking about kids eating more of the proper human diet with more protein in their system instead of sugar. So if you have babies or grandkids and you're wondering why they're acting off the chain, it's probably what they're eating. I won't say probably, it is what they're eating. And being a semi-retired teacher, seeing how kids react to things that they're not even normal anymore, guys, it's because of the sugar in their diets. I had one poor little baby, and I know I'm getting off on a little tangent, but bear with me. I had one little poor little baby one day that she was covered in eczema, scratching herself to bleed every day. And in her lunchbox, and this is before I knew about all this, y'all, but I knew this was not right. She had Pop-Tart, a cereal bar, and some juice. Sorry, that's the bad part about being on the phone. I have spam calls too. They wonder why she kept itching. Mom was like, but I can't get her to eat anything. But I'm like, but you keep supplying her with the bad stuff. And like I said, I wasn't even carnivore then, and I knew it was bad. It was like, at least give her, I was like, give her some strawberries or blueberries or something that was healthy, not processed. I at least knew that then. So, sorry, got on my tangent. Let's get back to my mindset. Two choices. So that mom, yeah, I had two choices. Be a mama and give your kid what she actually needed, or not be the mama and let your child suffer. That was the two choices. That was the two choices. So, with that being said, drop in the comment if you can think of something you want to decide on this week and how you can use this concept. Let me go back to that. I think I had another. Yeah, here's my other question. Can you see using this mindset for most of your decisions, large and small? So, y'all, it doesn't even have to be a major decision. For example, I have not broken my fast except for my coffee. That's all I've had. That and some water. So my major or minor decision today is, what am I going to eat? I have two choices, actually three. Beef, pork, or poultry. No, I have some pork belly in there. I've got a ribeye. I'm choosing the ribeye. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm gonna choose the ribeye and some pork belly. That's gonna be how I break my fast today. See how simple that was? That was real simple. That was a minor choice. That was minor, but it was still a choice. I'm gonna have pork belly and I'm going to have ribeye. I also have some other choices that I have to make. Do I clean up today or do I clean up tomorrow? I'm going to clean up today because living in a tiny space, you need to kind of keep it straight. Okay, that's just a given. I can't work with a lot of clutter. Am I going to do laundry today or am I going to do laundry tomorrow? I'm going to do laundry today. Why? I'm running out of underwear. Some things are just circumstantial. But seriously, y'all, I am beginning to use this no matter what decisions or things I have to think about. I'm using it for everything. For everything. So if you can think of something that you want to use it for this week, put it in the chat. I think it's funny. Like I said, it's a mind-blowing concept to me. It's just, yeah. It's simple. It has simplified this overthinker's life. It has simplified this overthinker's life so much. So I feel like it has energized me. It keeps me moving because again, I could get set in and ruminate and overthink and just sit there and still not accomplish anything. Or now I can go this choice or this choice. Choose one, move on. Okay, that one called for this choice and this choice. It's almost like a flow chart. I don't know if y'all remember those flow charts from back in the day when um, the IT industry was just starting and you had to do flow charts for your, what's that, Fortran, and I forgot all those different computer languages back in the day. Back in the day when dinosaurs still ruled the world. Yeah, we had flow charts. But if you kind of pattern your thoughts like a flow chart, it really helps. For me, it's really simplified things. It really has. Oh, thank you, Chris. Chris says, hey, Dennis, Terry, you're doing awesome. Got to go make animal-based Nilla wafers. Whoa, yes. Love you guys. Rock on. That'll help my problem. Chris, you know I'm down for that recipe. I can get my little sugar-based grandbaby to maybe eat that instead of, and maybe I can make her a big batch. Yeah. Thank you, Chris, for what you do. Love you. That's only half a heart because my hand is holding the other half with the phone. But yeah, see, so Chris had a choice. He popped on to say hi, which I love. And now, because of his choice and his response, I now know I'm going to have a new recipe that I can share with my granddaughter who has a really bad sweet tooth. And I'm really worried about her health. Even though she's five and she eats way too many carbs. She wasn't like that. When I first started carnivore, I have a picture of her gnawing on some barbecued ribs. And I think she was right at 1 year old and had just gotten teeth. She was gnawing on some meat. I don't know when it switched or when that little brain lit up and got addicted to the sugars and the carbs, but I needed to turn back because that does really worry me. I know juvenile diabetes is on the upswing, and I just don't. And she's not heavy because she's always moving. She's always active. But yeah, that sugar bothers me. Anyway, I'm just gonna close out, y'all. Believe it or not, I've talked a whole hour. This is week 4, y'all. This is the last week. Tomorrow's Tiny Talk Tuesday. Then Walk With Me Wednesday. Then Travel Thoughts Thursday. I will be getting ready to travel. And then Free for All Friday. Like I said, I'll take you on the road with me. No telling where I'll be. When y'all hop on the live, hopefully the phone should work. The phone should work, and it should be okay. And then Saturday, I will go live and show you where I am in the event. And I might have to change the time frame on that because the part that I'm doing is a little bit later in the afternoon as far as the movement and the line dancing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this finishes out my month of August. Can you believe that? August is almost gone. Wow. My month of August and going live every day. So now I've got a choice to make. Do I continue daily or not? Well, I've already made that choice. It's a not. I will not be continuing daily. But my other choice is which days do I want to do? Which time frame? Because the way this internet's set up, midday obviously is the busiest time that people are on their computers around here. So choices, but now easier. One or two. Which one am I going to choose? Let's see. Dennis said something about the Nilla wafers. Ooh, Nilla wafers, cool. All right, Dennis, I love Nilla wafers. Love Nilla wafers because they're not real sweet. Let's see what else we have over here. Dennis says, what's that? Hold equals goal. Apparently, I cannot type today. Type today. Oh, okay. Because now I see what. Okay, you had a comment before that. I didn't see that one. It says it's more automatic, a choice now, but it still boils down to the two choices. Yeah, it does. It still boils down to only two choices. Only two choices. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss something else. Oh, yeah, I did. My bad. Dennis says, I did that the other day, y'all, and I apologize. When I did that Walk For Me Wednesday, when I shut it down, I realized I missed some statements. Dennis says, when I started my low carb journey and was craving bread or mashed potatoes, I would tell myself, do you want to eat the bad stuff, which are roadblocks to your goals, or do you want to choose foods that will help you reach your goal? Now I get it. Exactly. And that's what it does boil down to. That's exactly what it boils down to. Which do you choose? And sometimes you may choose the alternative thing that's not good for you. But then you have to realize you've also chosen to do two more things. Your body's going to react to it in a weird way, or you're going to respond and not do it again. So I'm just going to close out. It says, as you go through this week, remember life is about two choices. Which one will you make today? I am choosing to eat ribeye and pork belly. So if you don't mind, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone that is having a hard time making decisions in life right now. Go for it. Happy Mindset Monday, everybody. I will see y'all for Tiny Talk Tuesday. Not unless the internet messes all of my devices up. Then I will have to make a choice then. But yeah, have a wonderful Monday. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.